Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Love in Real Estate. I'm your girl, your local Northern Virginia realtor, Danielle, and I'm here co-hosting with my love,
Daryl Allen.
And so, how you feeling? How things going?
Um,
What's the 3 episodes into it
yeah, we're
now?
3 episodes into it. Unfortunately, we doing this back home in Ohio. My father unexpectedly passed away, so we haven't traveled to Ohio so I can bury him. Um, but yeah, then that's about the only thing that's kind of going on right now.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right.
Okay to share the podcast?
Yeah, I'm feeling
Okay.
all right. But hey, there is a topic though that I do want to talk about. So our podcast is called Love and Real Estate. And with real estate, we just mean economics and business in general, right? But on the love portion, there's a topic that was kind of heating up social media for the past week or so. And it's about, would you marry a bus driver? And there was a conversation that occurred between Ebony K. Williams, who's a lawyer. She was a former correspondent on Fox News and I think on the Real Housewives of New York. And she was doing an interview with what's the other lady?
Fix Your Life. What's her name? Avanya.
Avanya. Uh-huh. So this is the clip here, and we're going to discuss it.
Okay, let me cue this up for you.
The clip.
If he owns the bus, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Because the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well. So we're asking 800
Okay. All right. So you probably missed the first part of that, but the question that was posed was the Vincent was asked Ebony K. Williams if she would date a bus driver, and then Ebony K. Williams said no, only if he owned the bus. And I'm assuming she's implying by that is that he's not. She don't want a regular employee. She wants a business owner, right? Because she assumed that he may have more money.
Yeah, I can see that perception. It sounded like from the video, that's what she was referring to. If he owned the bus, meaning he was he wasn't driving the bus. He had his workers. He owned the company of the bus, which, I can't, I disagree.
Okay, why do you disagree? Well, let me ask you this question first. Would you date a bus driver?
I would date a bus driver because obviously if I'm dating him and talking to him, I knew he was a bus driver when we started dating. And so...
Well, let me pose a better question to you. You're 20 years old. You're in college. Would you date a bus driver?
Yeah. I mean, it's how old is the bus driver, though?
Well, no. He's around the same age. The reason why I'm asking that. So the flip side of that question, say that you're 38 now. You got your stuff together. You have a career where you're making a lot of money. You have your own assets. At that point in time, would you marry a bus driver? Or would you date a bus driver?
I still think I would because I mean, there is, maybe he's a bus driver and this is a second job. Maybe he, has a pension and he was, military or something before. And it's not even about that. Maybe he's just an all-around good guy and he enjoys driving a bus because he enjoys, talking to the kids and mentoring, kids that have come through the school. And he has his shit together. He's, good to me, like she said. And he, just enjoys doing his job. Yeah. And we can, make a living together to where, I'm happy.
Okay.
And I think that's the point of it. I think if you come in looking for wealth in a relationship from the beginning, it's going to go wrong because if either party is not meeting that standard of wealth, at any point it can change.
Well, I can tell you this right now. For someone like Ebony K. Williams, she's probably used to a certain lifestyle.
Yes, that's true.
She probably wants to maintain that lifestyle.
That's true.
And just to get a little bit into her background, I think when she was on the Real Housewives of New York, she was dating some older Jewish guy
Mm-hmm.
that had a lot of money.
Well, she wasn't dating him on the show. You know.
Oh, she wasn't dating him on the okay. She wasn't dating him on the show,
Up.
but they broke up. But
Yeah.
at one point in time, I think she was staying in his condo or whatever, and he
she
kicked her
still
out.
was in the show.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if she was even dating him for love anyway, or that was just for money. But I will say this though: if you don't date for love, you don't marry for love, you just marry for money. Anything that happens to that guy, like a financial collapse or whatever, that other person's gone.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting with this topic because actually I seen a clip with they asked Neo. He's getting divorced again.
Okay.
From his second wife, and he was in the airport, and they asked him, how's the dating life?
Was it TMZ?
Yes.
Okay.
And he said he just wants a regular person. He said, I'm, kind of alluding to that he was done with the high profile, dating life, and he was telling regular girls slide into his DMs. So it sounds as if, on the flip side to that, whereas Ebony wants, she's not dating a bus driver, the regular guy. Neo's like, I'm tired of dating high profile females that, are coming to the table because it's not working out for him.
Yeah.
I want somebody who's regular, who just wants to date me.
Well, it's different.
I don't know if he's gonna find a regular girl like that because he's still coming with money, way more assets.
Oh, well, he's definitely gonna find a regular girl. There's a whole bunch of them out there that trying to, if they don't marry for love, they try to make a come up. But I will say this though, it's different between men and women, isn't it?
Okay.
I mean, men traditionally are the ones who take care of the household.
Yeah.
They're the ones who take care of the woman. But now things have flipped in this generation.
True.
But now you have a lot more women making more money than men. I mean, I read a recent study. I forgot where I read it from, but they said that African American females are more educated than African American males. Now that doesn't translate into money, but I found that kind of interesting though, where if you have some women that are more educated than a male, they may think they are better than a particular male that they're dating.
I don't know if they think they're better. I think, the opportunities for the African American community has widened exponentially. I will say you find more women establishing their careers before having the wife and mom life because they want to make sure that they, have assets and of their own.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of women later in life having babies or marriage because they're chasing that career, climbing, that ladder, if you will, breaking those ceilings, which I think is a great thing, being an African American lady myself and kind of, having daughters and wanting them to thrive. So I do think it's different. And I will say this to Ebony's point, I can understand because I can guarantee if you're in a certain echelon of friends and social circles, you may come to that social circle and you bring in somebody that, has not used to that. Your friends may be like, hey, is everything okay? What's going on? Because, she's used to dating these, maybe high profile men, if you will. And now, she brings a bus driver.
Yeah.
So it could also be her surroundings and her friends. I had a friend, she was dating a guy. He did 9 years. They're not together now, but, I was supporting her in that of dating him. But at the same time, I'm like, how you going to explain that to your mom? And she never, she never introduced him to her mom and never got that far. But those were questions was like, how do you explain,
But do you have to explain when you're grown?
Well, yeah.
You can kind of date who you want to date.
He didn't have a job. He didn't have that,
okay.
She's.
But then again, though, when you're grown, do you have to really explain anything?
Well, I mean.
Because let me pose this hypothetical question to you. And our daughter, one of our daughters, right? They said they get their doctorate degree by 25.
Great thing.
Yeah. And they introduce a man to you, and his occupation is a bus driver. How would you feel about that?
I can't say right now, but if our daughter is in love and he's treating her right and he's helping bring to the table a future for the both of them, holding his own weight, and she's happy, I can't knock her for that. At the end of the day, I want my daughter to be happy.
That's me too. And I want her to date somebody that she's compatible with, and somebody that's going to support her.
Yeah.
I can care less what the occupation of the guy is. I mean, as long as he's not a criminal or anything like that.
Right.
Now, I will tell you as a father, I will prefer my daughter to marry someone at least at her same salary or educational level or greater, right?
Yeah.
Because that she would be more secure, right?
And to be honest with you, it could be too, you know, I always think about this too. Ebony may never run into somebody who's a bus driver because she doesn't run in those social circles. She runs in social circles where, majority of the
Yeah,
men
but
that
she's
she's
out and
dating.
about though. A man will come up to tell a man, okay, say she's out and about just doing whatever she's doing. And then a man that look like Idris Elba come up to her, right?
Yeah.
And he just, lays down that conversation to her. And, she eventually dates the guy, and the guy, he breaks down to her. He said, I'm a bus driver. I mean, what would she do? You think she would just dump him right there?
Not on the Idris look.
Is that how the Idris look?
Not
That's
on
why I
the
said that
Idris
name
look.
for her. So
No, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I also think too that, she's not running in circles where, there's a guy she may bump into that's a bus driver. But like you said, she could just be out in the streets of New York and run into somebody. It did spark a lot of conversation.
yeah.
I think it's a great, couples conversation because, hey, sometimes you meet somebody, and it blooms into something special. She could be helping elevate that person. Maybe, he starts out as the bus driver and then he owns the bus, like she says, because he decides to climb that ladder because she's elevating him. I think you and I have that great relationship, where we both have master's degrees. You have, working on things in the background to foster your education. I've done the same, in the real estate. So we kind of, feed it off each other to keep that, echelon. Like we want to make sure that we both are bringing something to the table.
Yeah, with that said, though, I want to clarify a couple things. There's a couple things in this conversation that was brought up in social media and everything that I really want to clarify. The first thing is that I don't think men in general really care about a woman's educational background. I don't even think they really care about how much money she makes. That's from the woman's standpoint. I think from a man's standpoint, the man's always, we bred to be the caregiver and whatever, right? So we're in a relationship and a woman comes to me talking about, she's a lawyer, she's a doctor, whatever. I mean, that would be nice, but I really don't care. I'm still gonna play my role as a man because I'm not gonna marry somebody that just because they're a lawyer, just because they're a doctor, or just because they bump heads with upper echelon people that I don't do it. I can care less about that. And I think most men in general, and actually I think there's a lot of black women that believes that they are better than certain men because they have that. But they think that men care about it. I don't think men really actually care about that stuff.
I think some men care if you want to have a conversation with somebody and hold their own. I think there's some, I think there are some men that at least want to be able to hold a conversation with somebody.
I understand. But some of the smartest people I ever met are the
level.
ones that don't have a college education.
True.
Right? Mark Zuckerberg, he's a billionaire. Facebook, he don't have a college education.
That's true.
Right? Or he doesn't have a college degree,
Yeah.
I would say. I don't think Bill Gates ever graduated from college.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the extreme examples, but just because you graduated with college doesn't necessarily automatically make you smart. But there's another misperception I want to say too, and this is something that I really, 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 really want to clarify. Just because you're a bus driver doesn't mean that you don't make a lot of money.
True.
Right?
That's true.
Your occupation, sometimes we like to judge people by their occupation thinking, oh, they must don't make no money because they do this.
Right.
We live in Fairfax, Virginia, right? It's probably it's in the top 10 most expensive counties in the U.S. I want to say the top 5. And my wife and I, we both have a good salary, make good income, and we live in a townhome. And if you know anything about how townhomes are constructed, the townhomes at the end of the row are more expensive because they are more roomy, and you get more of a yard, right? Well, we don't live in the end of the row, but our next door neighbor has the end of a row townhome. He's a Hispanic guy, a carpenter. He uses hands. He works on things like that. He actually even renovated our bathroom, but he is supporting his family, and I believe his wife is a security guard or something, and they have a townhome that's probably, as far as the market value, more expensive than ours, right?
Yeah.
So you go judge this man by his occupation. He doesn't dress nice or nothing. He just, what I'm saying? Just dress a regular guy. You may say, oh man, he don't speak that much good English. He wear clothes that you probably find at Walmart or whatever. I could tell he don't make no money. He's living in the slums. Well, that's not necessarily true, right? And if that guy was single and he was approaching somebody like Ebony Kate Williams, she's going to misjudge this guy,
That's true.
and she may have a good man on her hands, right?
That's very true.
She may have exactly what she wants. She just don't realize it.
That's very true. You make a very good point there. A lot of times we judge a book by its cover based on the dress or their, accolades, that they may have, or even just the way they talk. And it's a misconception because, they, like you said, our neighbor, I mean, he did a fantastic job on our bathroom and remodeling that. And, very nice and works hard. You could tell he provides for his family. And so you just never know by judging somebody that is a bus driver or their occupation and what they have. So I totally agree with you. I think that, it's hard. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I would, I based on, personality, communication, the vibe that I can get from somebody. And I'm hoping to instill that into my daughters as well. So I would date a bus driver. I would date a school teacher. I would date an auditor like yourself that I'm married to.
I would definitely date a bus driver. Like I said, men are not really concerned about the occupation that a woman has. So I would definitely date a bus driver. Okay, so we got that out the way. Let's switch subjects a little bit. I want to talk about the best restaurants or our favorite restaurants in the DMV area.
Okay.
So we've been living in the DMV. That's stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So we've been living there for like 4 years now, and we visited various restaurants, various museums. There's a ton, just not in the city of DC either. Some outside of the district is very nice, and we all kind of currently have as our favorite. And if you move into this area, you probably want to check out these restaurants. So let me ask you, what is your favorite so far?
Oh gosh, a favorite restaurant.
You can only find really in this area.
You know what? A favorite restaurant. It's in the Virginia side. They actually have a couple of locations. Arlington, DC is the Bus Boys and Poet.
Yes, that is very cool.
That is a fantastic place to eat. The salmon to die for.
The vibe there.
The vibe of it, yes, is really nice because they play, like the old school 90s music.
Mm-hmm.
They have a library bookstore in there. And it's just, the service has always been great.
Mm-hmm.
The one in Arlington gets kind of busy on the weekends, but they have brunch and lunch, dinner. So you can, catch it at any time. And then I know that they have a location in DC. I want to say they have a third location.
Well, I think they have two locations in DC. I know they have one in Columbia, Maryland.
Okay.
They have one in Arlington. That's the one we went to. And I believe they have a couple more, but they're only located within the DMV. Yeah. And they do a lot of things that really support the community too. They have maybe community activists come in and talk. They have various speakers. Maybe if you a person that's selling a book or whatever that's promoting their book, they come in and speak. Yeah, you can sign up to visit that. I think you mentioned the bookstore. They actually have an actual bookstore in there, which I think is really clever. It's really cool because it kind of fits the whole entire vibe.
Yes.
And the food is delicious.
Yes. So you go in there, pick up you some food, grab a book, eat and read, and it's a nice little vibe there. But I actually found an article for some 8 restaurants in the Nova area. So it's more the Northern Virginia. But it'd be interesting to note that none of these we've been to.
None of them?
None of them.
Well, before you read that article, can I tell you my favorite?
Okay.
So my favorite so far is called Mike's American Grill. That's located in Springfield, Virginia. And they have a second restaurant in Arlington, but it's under a different name, but it's really the same menu.
Yep.
But Mike's is just your traditional American menu. You have steak, you have ribs, you have, of course, an assorted products of the fish. I think it's really good. Yeah, it's not going to break the bank. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not going to break the bank. It's a nice place to send your family and sit down. The vibe in there is really, really nice too. It's not like Bus and Poets, but it's just it just give you a really good feeling.
The one in Springfield is pretty large.
Yeah.
It has the upstairs and downstairs. And so is the one in Arlington. It has the 2 levels as well. We went to that one around the New Year's time.
Yes, we did. Actually, I would say though, the one in Springfield, the parking sucks. There's really it's a large restaurant, but they don't have a large parking lot, and it's located right next to a McDonald's. So if you go visit, don't get tempted if the parking lot is filled to go park at McDonald's because they will tow your car. Okay, so don't get tempted, but it is a very, very good restaurant. So let's get back to your article.
So there's 8 on here, and I won't go through all of them because, again, most of them we haven't been to. But I want to point out one that I actually did for an account of mine that I had, and it's in Falls Church, and it's this place called Role Play Grill.
Role Play Grill.
Role Play Grill.
Okay.
Now, the name, you don't think food when you think about it, but it is your Vietnamese street food. So it's like a quick service where you would have like your, like they have bowls, fried rice, and then like your like egg rolls or sushi rolls. But they can do like a chicken, and it's in a roll, so you eat it that way, which I've had before. It's a very interesting concept, and it was actually really good. They're spring rolls.
Okay.
And so that's on this list, which is like a newer style type of restaurant.
Any other standouts?
We actually did have one. It's in Herndon, so it's not new to the Springfield area because we have one in Springfield. But I guess the restaurant is newer in the Herndon area, which is Dickey's Barbecue Pit.
Oh, okay. Is that something? Is that nationwide, or is there something in this area?
It's on this article, so I mean, I think it's more maybe to that Northern Virginia area, but they just opened a location in the Herndon area.
Okay.
For you barbecue levels from brisket, pulled pork, chicken breast, ribs.
Yeah, and I could co-sign that. Dickey's barbecue is very delicious. It won't break the bank either. They're not. I mean, they're not super cheap, but they're not like very expensive either.
Yeah. So, and then and then there's one that's in Chantilly. It's called Knob Nook. So it's like a Mediterranean street food. So that's kind of cobs, falafels. They have the veggie chicken bowls. So again, kind of more of that style. So there's a couple on here. We can, if you look up 8 new restaurants to add to your Nova food journey, but there's just so many more between DC, Maryland, and Virginia that you and I are still discovering.
Yes.
Which is the great part of when you're looking for real estate, and where you're going to live in the areas. It's nice to get with an agent because those are the little things that can help you. Maybe you're a foodie. So you want to live somewhere in the Arlington to Alexandria area. Maybe you're, more style is, suburban out, secluded. So you want to be in the Loudoun County or even Fairfax kind of area where you get some more landscape. So kind of, I think that's the nice thing about being in the DMV area is that you get a variety. And if you're a city person, DC's where it's at. Yeah,
I mean, you have like a lot of food locations within the district that are very abstract.
Yeah. Founding Farmers.
Is you into that? Well, I won't say that's really abstract, but what I'm thinking is like something that you could only find at a typical restaurant. It's very unique. Right. I'm trying to think of one that we went to that comes to mind, but it escapes me right now. But if you go in there, you look at their menu, you're like, well, this is only something that's very unique to this place. But there's a lot of locations like that within the district. But yeah, going back to Founding Farmers, they have a couple of locations
in the DC area.
Yeah, we used to go to the one. Yeah, we go to the one in Tyson's Corner in Virginia, and then we also go to the one. It's right next to
DC.
Yeah, what is that? Is that George Washington University? That is right next to?
Close by, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Or America. It's one of those universities. But we like to go down there too because we like the whole vibe of downtown DC. But I will say I really appreciate their breakfast more than their dinner and lunch. Yeah. They have really, really good breakfast. I'm trying to think of another one right now.
Those are some, you can always find the street two vendors in DC.
They are really good.
You go to around the museums and stuff.
Yeah, the Smithsonian, a whole bunch of them. They're delicious.
You get some good tacos. Yes. I mean, they have burgers. You can get your American, Mexican, Mediterranean, Vietnamese. I mean, you can get the quick and easy now than the sit down that you were traditionally used to, which is nice.
Yeah, that's true. Well, okay, so we're going to end it here, but I would say that we're going to talk about more restaurants. We're actually going to talk about more restaurants in detail as we are experiencing it, so you could get a first-hand experience of how the restaurant is. And
just remember, if you're in the Northern Virginia area or moving to and you're looking for your neighborhood realtor, hit me up at Donyell, DONYELL .Allen, ALLEN at C21NM.com. Drop us a comment. Let us know what topics you're interested in. We're always going to pull some hot topics related to love that's kind of trending, and then give you a little real estate advice as well.
Exactly. And also I'm going to include Donyell's contact information in the podcast episode description. So if you're ever moving here, or if you even just have a question about real estate, about your realtor, say that you're out in Kansas somewhere and you're working with a realtor, but you have questions that you may not want to present to them. Maybe y'all don't have a good working relationship, whatever, and just hit up Danielle, and we'll make sure to provide you with an answer. And also, too, if you have any questions concerning our topic of the day is, would you marry a bus driver? If you want to ask something to our next episode, let us know, and we'll make sure to read your feedback, and we kind of discuss it for our own feedback in our next episode. So until then, I want to say take care. I want to say though, if you have any loved ones, especially if they're getting older, if they're very sick or whatever, make sure you reach out to them and you say that you love them. Just pick up the phone right now, call them. If you can't call them, text them. Just make sure you say you love them, because death comes all of a sudden sometimes, and nobody really plans for it. And so I really just kind of want to leave you with that gem. So y'all have a good evening. Talk to you later.
Thank you.